Hello, everyone. This is Monsef Afker, and thank you so much for joining us in this new call of Your Divine Uniqueness. So we're happy to connect with you again. Thank you so much for joining, whether on the live call or with those of you who will be listening or watching the replay later. Thank you for your presence, and also very excited that Sheryl Ann Noday is back on the show. She joined us last year in the previous season, and the experience was really profound. Like, she really explained like the channeling, what it is, and how we are like every one of us is channeling, and also how we can create a space or like bring the messages that we need, and which really help us to connect more deeply to our true self, and also to share more our light with more authenticity, and also the energy that she held for us also while channeling Siria Family. She will be sharing about in a little bit. How to say, it felt very warm, very caring, and very safe. And also there is so much love in that, and wisdom through the messages that she channeled. And very excited that she's back today. And today will be about authentic trance channeling and its anatomy. So she will be sharing about that. You will also understand what's the difference between that, maybe the sensing or the feelings, the guidance we receive, or dreams, or telepathy. So because there are so many ways that we connect with others and with the universe and other beings. And also we'll have a Q&A where you can ask your questions. For that, you can raise your hand by pressing reactions on Zoom app, then raise hand. Or if you are on the phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and also YouTube. And Cheryl with Siria Family will also guide us through a healing process. So stay tuned for that. And for those of you who are new to Cheryl, she is trance channel for Siria Family, Sirius, and other high frequency beings. She is a healer, medium, teacher, and magical realism painter. And so with that, Cheryl, welcome back to the show. Happy to have you with us today.
Thank you. Wow. What a great intro. I would like to have you do that all the time. What a great life it would be. Thank you for that. And I am delighted to be here. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to talk to you about my favorite topic. So I look forward to your questions. And gosh, I'm ready to begin. It seems like it's such an ancient topic, and it is an ancient topic, but yet it's having such a rebirth right now. And although it has been with us for so long, it's still so misunderstood. You know, people in our past lives, we always looked up when we had questions. Who am I? Why am I here? These kinds of questions that are really part of humanity that we're still asking today, but yet we never look down. We never look down at our feet. Automatically, we go up. And what is it that brings us to look to the stars, to look up to the galaxy, to look up to consciousness? Because we know there is consciousness up there. Now, down here too, the earth is a consciousness in and of herself, but we never really look down at our feet when we ask those kind of profound questions. It's an automatic, innate wisdom within our body. So we know that we have these divine beings as part of our ancestry, as part of our guidance, as part of our counselors. And what I want everybody to know is that channeling really is for everyone. If you have a hit, like, gosh, I really like that, or I think that I can do that, I would encourage you to pursue that, because it's not just for some people, it is for everyone. It's like we all have the ability to exercise, but how many of us have the ability to really become an athlete? What separates that vibration of just exercising, even if you really love it and you go to the gym every day and you're really committed, but what is that length, that vibration in becoming an athlete? And I like for people to look at it that way, because if you put the effort in, if you put the dedication in, and you put all of yourself in to make these connections, that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And yeah, I have a question about that. But before that, I would love if you can tell our audience who are new to you about maybe the teaching that you are bringing in this time, and also the healing work that you are offering. Like, how do you offer this service to your clients?
Okay, thank you. Channeling really is about growth. What is the art of stepping aside? What does that really mean for someone to step aside? Well, in order for us to connect, number one, to connect, to bring the energy to us, and then have the energy come through us, we must step aside. And that is, it's really not mathematical, you guys. It's not where you can say, well, I do this every single time. It's like, how do you go to sleep at night? How do you surrender? How do you go into meditation? Well, everybody has their own way. Well, I, fluff my pillow up. I start to turn the lights off. I start to calm myself. I release my cares of the day, the to-do list. I let that go because I know I'm going to meditate. What is your process for going to sleep at night? Do you brush your teeth? Do you have a cup of tea? Do you start to read? Your rhythm, your patterns, begin to tell yourself, I'm letting go. And in that way, it is a stepping aside. And so we learn to step aside, to make contact by always connecting to our higher self first, then making contact with these divine beings, how to bring them in a safe and loving way, and then how to step aside. So it is a process. What begins to happen is that it brings up a lot of issues for people, which is great. We want those to come up. We want to be able to see what's going on inside, what's going on in the interior landscape, what you're holding on to, and then learn how to make those self-healings within. Healings for everybody. It's not just for certain people. And our life really is about healing because it's fun, because you get a chance to move out of those stuck positions that you might have been in. And so when you heal something, there's going to be something else that comes up, because it's a life of growth and healing and evolution and love. And when you start to really feel that, you're going to want more and more. So once you jump on in to the vibration of channeling and wanting to do it, it really is a lifelong commitment. It doesn't mean you're going to be struggling the whole time, not at all. But it means that you're going to be growing and achieving things that you never even thought was possible. Now, to address the second part of that question in terms of healing, healing is part of it. And what it begins to happen for people, and this is what happened with me, is that when I first started making connections a long time ago, my hands would get very warm, very, very, very hot, almost like, just from the wrist on, they would be really hot. And it'd be the natural connection to want to place them on someone. It'd be natural connection to want to offer this. And so that it works in tandem. Some people are really very interested in channeling, and some channeling healing energy, and some have other interests. Now, what are these other interests? When you attract a guide to you, more than likely, the two of you are going to have the same interests. So if you happen to be very interested in earth energies, very interested in environmental issues, you're probably not going to attract a guide that is very scientific and mathematical and like in the terms like Pythagoras. You and your guides have a similar vibration, almost an exactitude, I would say. And that's what allows for the match to take place. And that's what allows it even easier for you to step inside. So there will be a mutual interest, even if you say, wow, I didn't even know that was one of my passions. I didn't even, somebody heard me, somebody saw me. I hear a lot, I never was able to vocalize this. Someone will say to me, but, I've always really loved that. So our friends in the unseen realm are exactly that. They are our friends in the unseen realm.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing that. And also, when you were talking about that, you mentioned that part of it is to step aside. And then I had a question is, how do we know if the being that is presenting themselves are someone that we can trust? And also, because we will have some doubts in the beginning, how if we recognize that they are beings of light here to co-create, how can we trust them?
That's a great question. That is a great question. And that is because we never do anything in the unseen realm without connecting to our higher self. We must. It must become a practice. When you connect to your higher self, and I do this every day, if not a couple times a day, you connect to your higher self. What is the higher self? The higher self is the part of you that is no longer incarnating, that is devoid of ego. And it is the closest to God. God is all that is, your brightest light. So it will be, excuse me, future self upon future self upon future self upon future self to that highest light. And you want to connect to that highest light, not that you have to go outside of yourself, it's within you, but to connect to your higher self. When you are sharing the light together with your higher self, it is at that point in time. And we do very specific rituals. We do very specific meditations to call in that being. And so you begin to become very good at sensing energy. Now, you guys probably already know this. You walk into it. We've all had this experience. You go out, you go to the grocery store, you go to a party, you get together with friends, and it just doesn't feel good in that room. Like, wow, what's going on? What were you guys talking about? You know, and you find out, well, they were discussing something like this over here, and they end up having a little bit of an argument. And you walked in and you were able to pick up on that. Then you have a choice. Well, do you want to stay or do you want to come back a little bit later? But you're already sensing these energies. You do it every single day. You would have to get into your car and realize, well, I'm not going to go that route today. And to find out, you were guided. Your intuition tuned into that and said that route was going to be closed off. They're doing construction. Or you go out into a beautiful garden. You sense that it just feels so beautiful here. I want to stay here for a little while. It just feels good. And so tune into those discerning qualities that you already have in life right now. And that it's the same way if you were to close your eyes in that garden, not because you looked at the beauty, but you sat down and closed your eyes and you felt the beauty. What did it feel like? And then imagine, give yourself the exercise of going into a room where, you know, there might have been some talk that wasn't pleasant. And let yourself feel the difference, not in judgment. Say, oh, okay, this is how my body picked up on that. I felt a little chilly. I felt closed. I felt a little bit inside more, a little I knew I just didn't want to go in there. So you're able to discern these energies. And it's the very same practice we use when we are connecting with the unseen. And the fun part is that your dreams begin to open up. You begin to have a synchronization happening in your dreams and in your physical life. And you begin to realize that it really is all one consciousness. We are so much more. I know you've all heard that before, but to not listen to it in terms of it being mental, but to listen to it in terms of an emotional tone, that we really are a vibration of crystal with many different facets. And that one facet that happens to be vibrating, that seemed to come out over here, that doesn't look like it's part of the whole, wants you to take a look at it. And then when you take a look at it, then it comes in to express the more beautiful you. So these guides are here to help us. Yeah. Can't imagine a life without it.
Beautiful. And also another question, like this is from a personal experience that I had before through a process trying to call in like part of my star family. And what happened is that in the beginning twice that other beings came, I didn't feel comfortable with that. And I thought about maybe just giving up on that and stopping. It was more that's the guide that helped me to maybe stay longer and then be open to more ways to receive to feel the connection. So in those cases when someone maybe have some kind of fear or they don't trust the process, they want just to stop, how do you guide them in that process? So they feel more at ease in that?
That's another really good question. And yeah, that's very real. And when I offer classes, I do them in person like this. I mean, we used back in the day, we would all be together, but we're on a call like this. So we're all together. And one of the first things that we do is to really create a vibration of safety. That's real important. And how we do that by everybody getting together. We can do this right on a Zoom call. And we will make our own sacred geometry by people projecting a vibration of themselves into the center of the room. And so we do several exercises in which we're all connecting with each other. And people begin to feel safe because they're with others, because they're doing it with others. And I think that's very powerful. And, you know, I've had a lot of people ask me, why don't you create online classes so people can just take them at their convenience? And I understand that's attractive for people to take at their convenience, but that also feeds into, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I have no one to ask these questions to. We all love to read a great book, and you can learn and really expand yourself in that great book. But imagine if you had someone guiding you with others. And so I've really maintained to always continue to offer the classes live, where people can ask questions live and in that moment. And in that way, I've maybe once or twice since in the last, 30 plus years, someone has said to me, I'm petrified, I'm really scared. And that lasted short because they began to feel the love that was around them. So those are real questions. I mean, we have the same kind of question when we're out walking around, on this planet. It's like, what's safe, what's not? Where do I want to sit? Where do I want to go? Do I want to travel out there? And you're using your intuition, you're using your discernment in that way to make those decisions on the physical plane. And it's the same discernment that you use when you're working with the non-physical. If it doesn't feel right, if you're scared, then just don't do it on that day and wait until you have a facilitator to work with. That's why there's people like me doing this work. And that's why there are healers to facilitate you, to help you, not to do it for you, but to help you become awakened, to help you become empowered so that you can do it for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's like having like you said, facilitator or guide can really make a big difference and make us feel more safe in this process. And also another question, because there are different kind of channeling. How do we know if the trance channeling is the one for us?
Well, you will know that, and because you are drawn to it, and because you're guided to it, because you want to step aside. You see, there's many different forms of channeling, and you are drawn to that one. For example, those that are familiar with Seth, when you're listening to Seth or you're reading the Seth material, you know that is Seth. There's, no matter what channel he's coming through, Jane Roberts, you know you're talking to Seth. It is the same with Lazarus. You know you're talking to Lazarus. There's no other being that's being interrupted. It is Lazarus. And those are trance channeling. And that is when the being, the human, steps aside to bring forth that consciousness. Now, you can start in other ways. You can start with automatic writing. You can start with telepathy or clairvoyance. And it is a process. It's like getting into the pool. You're probably not going to just stay in the shallow end. You might stay there for a little while, play around on the steps, get yourself familiar with the temperature, get yourself familiar with that frequency before you really dive in. And that's very much the way that this is. It's fluid. You're never standing in the same body of water twice. And what you do in the beginning might lead you to something else. And why is that? Because you're growing, because you're evolving, because you're bringing in more of your soul, you're bringing in more of your own spirit. And so the quest of these beings, really, what is the quest of these beings? Just to come onto the planet and talk a little bit? Well, a little bit, but that's not the quest. The quest is to empower you. The quest is so that you know that you can connect to the master within. So it really becomes that wonderful figure eight dance that you start with your higher self, and that's where you end as well, becoming more of your higher self. The beings never want to promote themselves. The beings never never have an agenda really on what they're talking about. They come to love. They come to be our friend. And they come to remind us over and over and over again just how wonderful we are and just how powerful we are, especially now in a world that is changing and so many people are frightened. So a lot of people really are getting the call to channel, to become more mystical in themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It's okay to take time and take it step by step. We don't need to maybe go directly to the trance channeling if we feel guided to do that. Like you said, start with automatic writing or other ways. And also another question, because especially for those who maybe channel different beings, maybe what are the different ways to recognize them? Because for me, like, it was mainly through my body. Like for some beings, it was maybe on the right shoulders, others on the left, etc. So I would love if you can tell us how maybe we can differentiate between them.
Well, having a signature from the being is very powerful, because if someone were to knock on the back door, I had choices. I could open the door and see who it is. I could ask who it is, or I could ask myself to tune in to who's in the back door. You guys can start to do these exercises right now when you pick up your mail and you get your water bill, for example, your electrical bill. Hold it, sense it, and ask, what is the number? What is the amount of this bill? And ask it to come right into your third eye. Now, you still need to get calm. You still need to get relaxed. You still need to move out of the over analytical mind, and just to move that aside so you can start to do these exercises. Now, imagine how much fun it is when you actually invite another being in. So you invite another being in only when you've connected to your higher self. And you just don't want to invite any being in. Why don't you start in something that's very safe for you? Let's say you've always been attracted to the Native Americans. Let's say that you have a connection with India and you've always loved it. Don't know why, but you've always loved it. Ask your higher self to bring in a friend of yours from another lifetime. That's safe, that's loving. I had a student once that actually brought in an Atlantean friend, and the guide was over the moon because he hadn't connected with her. They were two males in Atlantis, and he hadn't connected with her in lifetime after lifetime after lifetime until she started the channeling process. I can't begin to tell you how the room was so filled with love. Everybody popped out of their trance space, their meditation, just to be able to hear this Atlantean being, myself included, because I wanted to talk to this being and help her along, help her hold that space. And so those are some ways that you can start. Another way is that come on and take classes with us, because these are the things that we discuss. And I can promise you this, that I've heard over and over and over again, people tell me I had no idea what I was getting involved in. I had no idea that I had these things inside of me and how free I am. And in every case, people get a new job, they get a new relationship, their life just expands because you're expanding. Because these beings love us unconditionally. You see, when you step aside and that being comes through, you're not left empty, like, oh, what a drag, I have to come back to myself. No, you are left with love. You are impacted with so much joy and fulfillment. It's incredible. It's just incredible.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you very much, Cheryl. And also, one more question is, after we start channeling, and when we want to start sharing that with others, so what will be your advice in that step? Especially that's we don't know how it will go and what will come through us. So there is some, how to say, maybe some doubts. So how can we have more trust to do that?
Well, one thing to know is that when you're channeling and when another being is involved, it's no longer you, it's now us. So you not to make the decisions on your own. So if the being is going to be speaking, then you have a relationship with this being. And this is something that I really see with a lot of channels, that they might be channeling, are saying, I'm a channeler and I channel all these beings, but see, the joy is having a relationship with them. So for example, when we set this up, I'm contacting Siria Family, making sure they're going to be there. I'm going to be doing this to make sure they're going to be there. It's a relationship, you see. And of course, they agreed, so they will be here. Now, they know it on other levels as well, because there's a frequency exchange that's happening. It's like an unseen telephone that's happening. So they're the closer that you are in this relationship, it's like an intimacy. Now, the intimacy will always mirror your intimacy on the physical plane. This is why it's the growth comes in. You see, you can't have this great relationship with spirit if some of your relationships are kind of messy, right? So we learn as to why they become messy and really what our role is in all of them, clean those up, heal them, because really the connection with spirit is about love. It's our connection with intimacy. So the way that you go after your channeling process is the same way you go after your relationships. And that's huge for people. That begins to open things up in so many ways. And ultimately, it's your relationship with love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Small
Thank
topic.
you again. Yeah.
Something you can handle over a weekend.
Right. Thank you, Cheryl. So do you feel it's the right time for the group healing?
Sure,
Or,
we can do that. Okay, so what I will do is bring Siria Family through, and what she does when she comes through is she tones a lot, and I invite you to sit with your body uncrossed, your legs uncrossed, your arms uncrossed, so that you can start to receive the energy. She'll do a group healing. She might talk about that a little bit. I'm not quite sure. And I guess take questions. Do you want to do that? Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So here we go. It'll take a few minutes here. All right, yes. Greetings unto you, dear, dear, dear beings. All right, and we are Siria Family. We are very pleased to be here with you. Very pleased to share this body of time with you, this time and space in your wonderful earth energies. And so before we begin dialoguing, sharing, loving with you, let us begin an energy transmission. And so, as already has been shared, you want to uncross your legs, uncross your arms, have your body accessible. You might want to focus on a particular area, like a portal within your own body. And then just simply allow. That's all you have to do. Not much at all, but to simply allow. All right, very good. And so we sense you, dear friends. Some of you feeling a little bit of overwhelmed energy here on the earth plane. Some of you feeling as though, what direction do I take? But all of you very much engaged in a process, the process of evolution within your realities, the process of what do I do next? Yes. What do I do next? Well, the question becomes is, how much love are you ready to receive? And so go ahead and place a hand upon your heart, and we will meet you there. We will enter you there. That's right. That's right. And we will come again. It will feel like a wave for you. It might feel like a little bit of heat for you. Or perhaps you begin to feel a little tired. Perhaps you don't feel anything right now. You feel it later. Right. Now, hand upon your heart, we'd like for you to invite in that vibration, that aspect of self called your higher self. Go ahead and just invite in, even if you don't know what you're doing, or perhaps you're very seasoned that you've done this many times before, but invite in. I am now inviting in my highest self, the greater self, the essence of my beingness, the part of me that is no longer incarnating. Go ahead and invite in. And to begin to notice your sensations. Just step aside from you and be aware of what you are feeling. All right, now in this vibration, go ahead and ask your higher self, what would be the best way for me to begin a relationship with you? And notice how the information comes. Do you hear it? Do you see it? Do you feel it? Or is it just a knowing? How does the information come to you? right, very good. Now make a note of that. Ask yourself to remember it. And simply come back to the room by taking a moment to open your eyes very slowly. And now when you refer back to the space that you are in, you can begin to ascertain for yourself that your state of consciousness that you're in now was very different than the state of consciousness that you were in when you were receiving the transmission and when you were connecting to your higher self. And to take note of that, not to judge it, of course, but to acknowledge that the state of consciousness that I'm in when I'm listening is different than the state of consciousness that I'm in when I'm inside and making connections. And let that be the first step for you. All right, so we are here, we are fully present, and we are ready to begin to take your questions.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for this
Yes.
process.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And everyone, to ask your question, you can raise your hand on Zoom app by pressing reactions, then raise hand, or by clicking on *9 on your phone. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and also YouTube. Karen, can you please unmute yourself?
Thank you so much. This is a wonderful space to be present in and receive. And my question is, I'm having some difficulties with my adult children, and there's lots of relationship, other people that I've been working with. I'm just wondering where all this is headed or coming up for. Just curious.
All right, so you're having difficulty with your adult children, as we understand it, yes?
Yes.
How many of them?
Just two, a son and a daughter.
All right, and this difficulty, is it newfound? Has it been going on a while? Is it surprising to you? How long?
It's been going on quite a while, but
Yes.
It's finally opening up where we can see more because we had an interaction, we had a graduation all together. And so they resent us as being bad parents. So,
right. So this is what we said from the get-go, is that this is, although it's coming up right now, it's been buried for a long time. Yes. Can you see that?
Yes, I do now.
It's been buried for a long time, and now it's risen to the surface. And so it's a little bit more highly charged than it would be if it would have been addressed before it got buried, when the situations actually began to happen. It would not have been as charged, as convoluted, as mixed up, and as angry as it's become. But that's where it is right now. So you're really at the surface of really looking at what these kids are angry about, and there's a lot of control that we sense that is going on, that we see a lot of manipulation that has been going on, and keeping it buried and really not wanting to talk about it. Well, that happened in the past. Why should we really bring it up? And so it has to do with how these children now that are adults they feel as though that they would have come out differently. Yes, that they would be differently. If this didn't happen, it didn't happen in this way, that has made me what I am, which of course is them not taking responsibility. And so you're really all at a place right now. We are working with these energies, looking at all of these energies. Really, what can we do now? So to dissect it and to talk to them about that, at the time that the decisions were made, you absolutely thought that it was the right decision. You felt that it was the best decision. And to begin to talk to them that if you all had the opportunity to do it differently, how would you do it? How would you do it differently if you had the opportunity? And in that way, you create the dynamic for healing and give them a chance to dialogue. Well, if I could have done it differently, this is how I would do it now. And let the other sibling, well, I would do it differently. This is how I would do it now. And then you speak, if I could do it differently, this is how I would have done it. And so let's all now vibrate on how we would do it now, and let that be the preferred reality. Make sense?
Absolutely. And what comes up for me is my husband is very hurt and he demands respect from them. And I just cannot imagine a conversation going well.
Between who? Between your husband and the children, or between you and your husband?
Between the children and my husband.
All right. So your husband is too angry to begin to dialogue with it.
Yes, I think so.
So that anger needs to be addressed first. You see? So hurt and anger go together. He's too hurt. He's too angry to begin to speak to them, to have that place to come together in the ring to call peace. So first of all, we would recommend that he begin to process his anger. And one way that you could help him do this is by writing, giving him a safe space to begin to release that anger within himself, not at anyone, of course. But a great way to do that is through writing, so he can find a place of peace before he begins to talk with them. So there's a little bit of a few stages to go to before that you can all find a place of camaraderie and begin to let go and to find peace and safety once again. And so that's where you're really at with it. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm thinking, and I shouldn't be thinking, I should just feel into the energy or the flow.
Well, we feel you trying to register how it's all going to go. You see, you can't control it, yes. you want it to
Thank you.
To be copacetic. You want it to all balance out. So hold that vision of it all balancing out. You see, when you were pregnant, you couldn't stand in front of the mirror and say, "Can you grow a little quicker? Because I need to birth you next week." You had to allow, yes. You had to allow for the energies. And so that's what we're asking you to do now. It's not to control it, to allow for the process, the germination of it, allow for the children to choreograph themselves, to move themselves, and then to present themselves in a new way. We've already defined the husband in that particular way. One way for him to redefine himself is to release this energy, because bringing anger into it is just going to fester more anger in that way. So help him to not just, well, let this go. We can't move forward to you, let this go, but to nurture him, to find a way to process it, to go on a long walk and to release it, to write it out, to find a way for him to have a release with harm to none. And then he can get on board, and he just might get the respect that he so desires.
Absolutely. Wow, this was brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Sirius. That's
our pleasure indeed. Yes, our pleasure indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Monstaf.
Thank you, Karen. And also thank you, Siria.
Yes.
We have a question from Linda. What is the best way to keep my vibration and energy level up to more fully connect more fully with my guides and angels? I feel as if they are all around me, encouraging me to spread their words and light for the highest good of all, but I cannot put the words to what is coming through and unsure of how to bring it forth to those waiting. Also, I am wondering who is coming through with this inspiration. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, you hit the nail on the head, dear love, is that the idea of it's coming through right now as inspiration. So perhaps it's not coming through right now. The beings are not coming through vocally. They're not talking clearly, but instead they are offering an energy frequency. Now you can look at that very much as we came through in the beginning, offering you an energy transmission. We chatted a little bit, but not much. And that is because you would all receive it differently, and you would all incorporate it. You would all integrate it individually. If we would have said, okay, do this now, then it would have limited it, you see. And so your guides, your counselors are working with you the very same way. They're bringing the energy to you for you to facilitate, for you to be in your power as to how you would like to utilize that energy. It's a phenomenal gift that shows you just how much you are loved and just how much you are trusted. And so we would invite you to lose your mind, to let go of your mind, to let go of it's got to be done this way. I'm not hearing it correctly. I'm not doing it correctly. Those are all chit chats from the negative ego. To step aside from that, feel the energy and let the inspiration guide you, which is what's happening. The inspiration is guide you. It's not that your vibration is not high enough. You're not doing it right. All of those are aspects of the negative ego which need to be calmed, which need to be quelled, which need to be quieted. And take the energy that's coming to you, grab onto it, and let it fester in your being, and watch what happens next. It will start to come through you. It is a beautiful synopsis, what's happening right now. You see, it's we liken it to this. Before the butterfly is created, before the wings are created, there's a gestation period that is dark and cocooned. Now, if you were to look at that gestation, that being before it's become the butterfly is not doubting it. It is not saying, hey, am I doing this right? It is flowing with the energy. And when the wings are formed and it moves out of its gestational cave, in a sense, it begins to fly. It is a natural DNA that is incorporated with every single butterfly that you see. And that is what's happening to you. Simply flow with it and feel into it without getting too methodical. So it's not so much that your vibration is not high enough. It's just that you're not trusting it enough. And so make peace with yourself, fall into the blanket of self-trust, let it nurture you, and watch and feel into what the next steps are. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So Linda, we'd love to hear your feedback. You can type it. And thank you for a question. Also, Siria, thank you very much for the guidance.
Yes, indeed.
Tanya, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was a bit late. Just came from work. So my question is, I feel like there is a lot of different energies flying around these days. And lately because I'm very empathic, I sometimes feel somebody else's feeling, and sometimes it's collective. So, and like recently, I felt like a lot of, it's not like fear, it's like pain or fear or something heaviness in my heart, in my chest. And I know it's not mine. If you could just tell me about it more, please.
Well, you hit the nail on the head.
Release it.
Yes, all right. Well, you hit the nail on the head that you're an empath and that you're tuning into sometimes others' energy and sometimes the collective. All right. And so in that way, your process is very similar to the last being that we just spoke to. You must release this. You're not being asked to carry it. What's happening is you're like a telephone wire, that you're connecting to it, that you're tuning into it, that you're aware of the pain that's happening right now upon your planet. And indeed, there is pain. And so it's not for you to hold on to it. The question becomes is how can you process it and release it? And there are a myriad of ways of doing that. And what's happening right now is that you're carrying it around. You're carrying it all way too much, and it's beginning to taking you down. And so daily meditations, daily processes of acknowledging, all right, I am an empath. I have this capability. I am tuning into the pains, the sadnesses, and as well as the loves that are happening on the planet. And now I'm going to do a long walk in nature to be rejuvenated, to open my heart and watching it pour out of me. As you say, it's not your energy, you're aware of it, but it's not up to you to carry it. So now that I've taken this from the collective, now it is my job to release it. It's a beautiful way to transmute energy, what you're doing. It's a beautiful way to help and to be of service, which is very much your way. And so to release it, that's one way of walking out in nature, simply opening the chamber of the heart and feeling the excess energy that is not yours washing out. And also, for your own healing, it can also absorb some of your own former pains and let that wash out as well.
Mhm.
So that is one way that is very beautiful. And we feel that you will very much resonate to a beautiful walk in nature, especially with flowers, with birds, where you can walk barefoot and really be in tune to the earth herself and being rejuvenated. Another way, if your circumstances does not allow for it, is to write it out, actually channel it out. And to be very specific, I felt as though these energies came to me. It came at this particular time. It began to well up inside of me, and write it out in a very specific way and let that be a release. And so that is what we sense.
Thank you so much. I do work with flowers and I walk in the woods almost every day. And I notice that sometimes I just cry and then it's like lifts out of my chest. You're so right about this. But writing down things are also very good. Thank you for advice. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our love indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Siria, for the guidance. We have a feedback from Linda. Yes, thank you so much. I am so grateful for what came through. It felt like such a warm and comforting hug all around me. My whole being is experiencing a huge smile. Thank you so much. Sending you so much gratitude.
Most welcome indeed.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. And also Karen Sherrod, love the analogies. So our understanding is easier and able to move forward into possibilities. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Our love, our joy, our pleasure, certainly.
Thank you, Karen. And a question from Joy. Thank you for the beautiful transmission. I felt it like loving vibration in my heart. I am curious about a connection I start feeling with the bees and the bees' nectar energy. They are showing me something. Also, where did the bees come from, planet or frequency, and how come we can communicate? Infinite gratitude and love.
Very beautiful indeed. You see, this is what begins to happen when you begin to open yourselves to your natural birthright, that you become in harmony with all. How beautiful that right now the bees are highly stressed and their realities are being threatened. But perhaps another point of view would be that you're not the ones. You're not to blame. You're always told that it is the humans that are ruining the planet. But there might be a small group of humans. Doesn't mean all of you. We invite you to look at the sky, that which is known as chemtrails. That perhaps the bees creates a great deal of difficulty for them. The poisons that are released are very difficult for the bees. How beautiful that you are connecting with them. We want to celebrate this. We want to encourage you. You know quite well what it's like to live with others in communion. You know quite well the importance of all getting along. All the bees have to. They don't fight with each other. They don't say, hey, you're stepping on my honey over here, get out of the way. No, not at all. They all have a similar thought process, and that is to make the honey, in which sustains them as well. And so by you even acknowledging them, they say thank you. They send their love to you. And they are very willing to work in partnership with you. As you all find ways, and you will, everyone on this call will find ways to love your planet a little bit more. You will all begin to open up certain pathways that begin to light your fire, that begins to light your passion, like this being has with the bees. Because the bee's destiny is to make honey and honey and honey and honey in honey. And you need that honey. It sustains you. The glucose level sustains you. It's important for your brain. And so are the bees part of your evolution? Absolutely. Absolutely, they are. Beautiful indeed. So we feel, was there anything else that was part of that question? Well, where are they from? Well, that's an interesting one, yes. We don't feel that they've come from another planet. We feel that they're very much Earth energy, very much that's been created during the time that human consciousness began to come to Earth, and you had the microorganisms, as you had salts, you had silica, you had oxygen, and these began to formulate together. They began the creation of life on Earth, and those beings that are part of the insect world, that are part of the animal world, and a bee is part of the animal world, began to grow, began to morph, began to come out of that, in many ways, that forms of crystal, those forms of oxygen, those forms of light begin to synergize together, and creation is formed.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much, Siria. And also thank you, Joy, for your question.
Yes, indeed.
Katie, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, thank you for calling on me. Cheryl, I'm kind of conflicted, and I would kind of like you to just see where you want to go with me. I, like Karen, have some issues with my children. I also am starting a healing business. I'm having some conflicts and struggles with that. So I really don't know where to go.
All right. We would invite you very much to formulate on a question that will help you bring your energies together, and that will help you also be responsible, yes, for what it is that you want to talk about. And then we'll pick it up from that.
Okay. So then my question is going to be about my children. I have had a strained relationship with mostly my two boys, 2 out of 3 kids. And it's been for a number of years, and I've tried to talk to them. I don't really think they even understand it. I've recently been told twice that it's due to past karma, and it's things that I have to overcome, that that I should stay away from them, that they are souls that persecuted me in past lives, and that it's probably not going to be resolved in this lifetime. So it's kind of taken me aback, to say the least.
Yes.
I'm going home next month to be around 1 or 2 of them, and it hasn't been good in the past. And
how long has it not been, in a sense, pleasant?
15 years. 15 years.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this is a big one here,
Yeah.
and we probably could do better working one-on-one with you in this particular way, but let us just touch on it because it's a deep one. First of all, we don't agree that it's non-healable, and that you came together to heal it. Yes, you are together again. And if you were persecuted or not, you're all in different bodies this time with the different agendas. And so in that way, if indeed there was a past life and that past life was tumultuous, you've come together in a terrain. You see, the soul always wants to heal. The soul doesn't come through, well, they had a rough time before, let's all put them together again so they can have a rough time again. No, not at all. It's to dissect what was the karma that is going on, that you come here to heal in this life. You've come here, you've all come back together, and you've come to heal in this life. Now, what we sense from you is a great deal of hesitation, wanting to be around them. And so that's why we would suggest and work with you to start to heal the wounds within yourself so that you can be around them in your power without needing them to be a certain way. However they are, finding a way within yourself to let them be who they are. You're not going in this to change them so that you can change yourself. You go into healing to heal the wounds that are still inflamed so that you can be around anyone that has ever hurt you with harm to none without carrying that wound. And that's why you feel the way that you do. That's why that you feel hopeless. That's why that you feel that that you can't be around certain individuals, because it will immediately remind you of not the children, but the energy. So now this becomes an issue really about power, your own personal power, your own image as to who you are on this planet, as to how you orchestrate yourself on this planet. So we're giving you the synopsis of it, the chapters of it, but it's we would recommend working with us or someone else that you trust to really get into the nitty gritty of it and heal within yourself.
Thank you so much.
That's what's going to set you free.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, not stepping aside, not talking to them. Well, I created a boundary. I'm not talking to them. They are your children. There's a connection there. There's a symbiotic connection there. You have them growing in your womb. Now, a lot of people say, well, I've cut ties, and that's all right. You can't cut ties, but let's get you to a place where you're operating from your own vibration of love, your own vibration of creativity, which has never been met in this lifetime, has it?
For a short period, yes.
All right. And
yeah, short period.
That got quelled, yes?
Yes, it did. Yes.
All right. So we'll give you a little whisper there.
Yeah.
That is one of the remedies right there.
The creativity.
So we get you to a place of you living your life fully, and then you can address these other energies over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes so much sense. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I love our joy. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Katie. And thank you, Siria, for the guidance. We have a feedback from Joy. Wow, thank you so much. I am moved to tears for some reason. Such a beautiful message, such a beautiful energy, infinite blessings and gratitude. Thank you, Joy. And let's see. So we have a question from Mary on YouTube. So she feels blocked in her life in general, but she thinks that it's her chakras that are blocked and would like to receive any advice on that.
All right. Can you repeat the question, please?
She feels blocked in her life as a whole, and she thinks that her chakras are blocked.
All right. Yes, they certainly would be reflecting the emotional block that you are feeling. So the question becomes that we would have for you is, when you start something, when you get illuminated with something, when you get an idea, how long are you in that process of joy and excitement? How long does that last before that bubble gets pierced and then it all runs flat in that way? So yes, it is a block per se, but you're not blocked in getting the inspiration. You're not blocked in having the ideas come to you. There becomes a fear that becomes registered. And how does the fear come? By the over-analysis of the idea to begin with. And so the idea comes, the over-analysis comes. By the time that you peck it, and find all the ways that it won't work, it becomes flat, it becomes dry. And so in that way, the question really becomes, is your relationship between love and your relationship between fear? What is that volume in between? And what are those relationships? And how do you find that? By examining your life, by taking a good, strong look at your life underneath a telescope, underneath a microscope, and begin to look at the patterns. Look at the patterns. Well, yes, I see. Start with even last year. Yes, I saw it started off this way. I saw it become narrower until it dropped. Yes, I saw this in 2020. Yes, I saw this just a few years before. And begin to acknowledge and define the pattern. Here's my pattern. Write it out. Get it into a single sentence. Define the pattern and get it into a single sentence. And then you can work with it. This is my pattern. You can own it. And then you can start to dissolve it. You can start to rewrite it. You can start to reprogram yourself. And so to answer your question, yes, the chakras are responding to the energy. It's not that the chakras become blocked and then everything stews from them. They become responsive to the energy in that way. And that's where they hold the position energetically and then respond to the human body physically. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Siria. And
Yes,
thank you,
indeed.
Mary, for your question. Much love. And I have a question from Melissa. I have been having experiences that I certainly feel is channeling when doing my healing work. I start feeling what is out of alignment, and then it feels like I'm not fully in my body as sound, song, and words come through and healing occurs. Since childhood, I have wanted to ease their pain. Is this part of my service?
Yes,
And
it is. Without question. It's happening so naturally. Yes. You couldn't control it if you wanted to. Yes.
yeah.
It's simply you're in alignment. It's coming through the healing modality because that's where you will allow it. That's where you feel as though that you can really expand. And you do when you're doing the facilitation of the energy work, facilitation of the healing work, you allow yourself to become expanded. There is no time and space for you. You become spirit. And in that way, the higher energies can work through you. So beautiful, beautiful indeed.
Yeah. And she said, all things have been spontaneous in my life, even mediumship and animal communication, but it's difficult to find a place to offer my gifts. So I spend a lot of time healing privately, anything that feels out of balance, even in my sleep. I feel only at home with nature. Can you advise me on a pathway to do more?
Well, it sounds as though, and it feels to us that you really are in unison with this form of intimacy. Now the question becomes, is for you to examine your relationships. That's where we feel the glitches. You're very good at isolating yourself. Excuse us. You're very good at the intimacy with nature. You're very dialed into tapping into the inner resources within your own personal kingdom. But now, and those are all, let us say, the energies of the divine feminine. But now to bring it out into the world requires different energies. Now to take that step and to share them with community, with those people that you do not know, requires a different energy. And so we would invite you to explore the masculine energies within you. And even as we say that, we can feel you start to move a little bit in your chair and not quite sure really what that is. And it's a loaded question, isn't it? That we say, we invite you to explore the masculine energies within you. So watch what comes up when we say that. Annoyance, fear, not knowing really what that means. And start by looking at what your relationships with the males have been in your life, your father, any siblings, relatives, friends, etc. And to look at what your relationships have been and your role in the relationships. And that's going to help you understand your relationship with your own masculine energy. And to bring it out into the world would require a full unison between your masculine self and your feminine self. You see, your masculine self, and this is where you're coming to right now, the desire to have a home for it, to make a home for it, to find a place out into the world that is protected. Those are the masculine energies. So that is the next process for you. Makes sense?
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Siria. And Melissa, we'd love to receive your feedback. You can type it on the chat box. And Jill, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, thank you, Wansaf. This
Jill.
has been wonderful. So I have a cat named Buddha, and he has an itching problem that's been going on for over 2 years. I heard that I unintentionally empathed it to him, the problem. And I guess we've been corded and the cord has been removed. Gone through many incarnations of medicine. He's off the medicine. I've had so many healings on him and myself because I guess he's taking on my stuff for me. So would you have any insight about what's I can do next to help him?
All right. Where is the itch, please?
It's all over. But he has hair missing on his stomach and lower chakra, sort of first. Mm-hmm.
Is there any rash that is there?
No.
No rash at all. So when the hair is removed, what do you see? Just white skin?
Yeah, it's just skin, and it's also just like in general just like lots of biting and itching, sort of all day long.
All right, and do you notice this after he's eaten?
Sometimes no. I mean, it's just even in the middle of the night.
It's no connection to after he's eaten at all.
No.
And tell us about his food.
He's on all organic food. I had gotten his allergies tested, and there was a lot of false positives, but basically it seemed like he was allergic to everything. So I put him on a very limited diet, and I've heard from other healers that he's not allergic to anything. So
all right. Is there any grain or fish? Not fish. Is there any grain or eggs in the food?
No eggs, and it's no, like the hard stuff is no grain. Yeah.
All right. So tell us his name one more time.
Buddha.
All right. So give us a moment here. Well, it's not so much as a allergy as we sense it as a virus.
Mm.
So just give us a moment as we are tuning into. Well, the two of you reflect each other, and at times he does take on your energy, but that's what the animal kingdom loves to do. They love to be of service, and if they're not really being of service in one way, that they will be of service to those that they commune with. And so as there's a part of the energy that he will be mirroring you in that particular way. First of all, let us define, is it male or female?
Male.
Male, all right. Yes, we sense it as a virus that is living within and causing him to scratch and itch. You want to be very careful with the food that you are giving him. That's first and foremost. Strong proteins in that particular way. Very good B12.
Okay.
Give us a moment here. No eggs whatsoever, no grains whatsoever, certainly no dairy, different kinds of protein. Lemon balm could be helpful to his central nervous system.
Okay.
But we sense the feline is not fully grounded in a sense.
Yes.
There's a misstep that we feel with him, and he's wanting to get realigned back into nature. So do you have anything like this in the surroundings where you live?
No, what you're saying, someone else said to me also. I live in New York City. It's, unfortunate.
Well, not at all. What you could do is start to bring things in, wheatgrass, for example.
Okay.
You could bring more plants in. You can make something for him. The channel did something very similar as well, where she got some brown paper and crumbled it all up and made a little setting for the cat. So there's she is in the city of Chicago as well. And the cats resonated very much to it. And you could get a corner or a room or whatever that you want to do, and bring sticks and branches and put plants that where he can go to rejuvenate. So we sense that part of his connection with the natural world being limited and being cut off. And he's we don't want to alarm you, but he needs that. He needs that kind of rejuvenation.
Perfect.
You can also, one thing that will help a lot is the channel did this and watch the cats. The felines really enjoy it. Is that on? You can get music of birds that are singing bird songs and play that and leave that on when you are not home, connecting him to the natural world. This itchiness, this virus that's within it is his uncomfortability with the surroundings that he's in. Not that he's not in a happy home, not that there's not a connection with you that he loves and adores, but these kinds from the animal world, this kind of connection is much more of a divine connection that he needs to sustain himself.
I totally understand. Thank you so much.
Yes, we sense also the elimination process is strained within him. So you're gonna start to want to watch, making sure that he is lubricated, that there's enough hydration that's going on, and that the food that you're feeding him is not ground up pellets, but it's close to its natural state, in the proteins, close in their natural state.
Yes.
So his body becomes stronger in balancing out the virus, so to speak. Now, getting back into the connection between the two of you mirroring each other, yes, but it's not your fault that he's picking up on energy, nor is it your fault that you're picking up on his energy. That's what you do when you cohabitate. You're in sync, you're in alignment, and you're tuned in to what is going on with the feline.
Yes. Yes, he's a healer cat, so he's very sensitive. He picks up on everything.
Yeah, so you want to make sure he's cleansed then.
Yes.
If
Perfect.
he's a healer cat and he's picking up on everything, then he needs to be cleansed quite often.
Yeah, I've been using crystals to run down his body, which I heard that he likes, and that I need to sage them more. So I just got a whole bunch of crystals he loves it. He purrs when I'm cleaning him with the crystals. So
all right, so you can use quartz that is pointed, and to be careful with that because it will be very strong. And you can start at the top of his head and go all the way with one hand holding the quartz, the other hand running it down all the way through his tail. And then you can have black tourmaline, for example, to ground it.
Okay.
And the crystals must be washed, of course. They are picking up on energy as well, and they are consciousness.
Yes. I've been using selenite and
Selenite, yes, beautiful.
And red jasper.
Yes, beautiful. Red jasper will ground.
Yeah. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you so much for all this great information.
Yes, indeed.
So appreciative.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Jill. And thank you, Siria, for the great guidance. And can we take one more question?
Yes.
Okay. So it's from Joshua. Can you please unmute yourself?
Aloha.
Aloha.
Hi. I'm curious about, feels like my guides and team have been guiding me to move. And I'm just curious if I'm in a more pause phase, just kind of stay still and craft my music and my healing skills more.
Yes.
Or if the move should be more immediate for my growth and expansion and fun and play.
All right. Well, are you feeling What are you feeling? Are you feeling as though that you'll be more creative in a different space, that it will be more illuminating for you in another space? You're getting the guidance, you're getting the inspiration to move. But as you look at those energies and you feel into those energies, what will they be that's different than what you have right now?
Feeling a little bit more quiet. I'm moving out of being kind of sensitive to noise.
Yes.
And a place that's just quiet can help me when I'm not sharing my music, kind of go into myself more. But I'm also practicing being able to be in the noise and be in my center at the same time.
That's
and I wonder if that's the skill I'm learning right now,
Yes, we understand that is a wonderful practice to be able to center yourself regardless of what is going on around you. So there's two realities that you're looking at that both are very optimal for your growth. So one can be that you stay where you're at, but you really become empowered in the space that you're at right now. You become empowered in working with the energy and utilizing the energies in the way that is of your highest vibration. So just like what's happening right now, the channel hears our phone ringing in the other room, but we have her so encapsulated within our energy, reminding her not to worry about it, that we're still going to be talking to you, that we're still going to be tuning into you in that way. It is a wonderful exercise in that particular way, just like what's going on to you, to extrapolate what's happening with the noise around and to be so centered in your own divine right, to be so centered within yourself that flame within burns, that ignites your own creativity. So that's a choice right there. Another choice is, all right, I've already mastered this. I feel very good about it, that I can connect, I can tune in, I can be in my highest energies no matter what is going on. But now I do have the desire to move. Now I desire to have a place that's reflective of more beauty, that is now reflecting really, really who I am. And so the move might be a little bit premature, but we do see that is going to be a decision that you're going to be entertaining and dancing with and vacillating with really throughout this year. And so we say, be true to yourself, dear love. Always tune in to yourself. We see you as a being that wants very much to share your creativity with the world. Your beingness wants very much to be in your loving state. And so to honor that, to know that those are your signatures. Those are your signatures, and you can do them wherever you are, wherever you live. Yes. Life is so beautiful when you realize the love that you all have. Make sense?
Yes, thank you. It's given me a lot of clarity and grateful. And yeah, thank you.
I love indeed, yes. Yeah. I love indeed.
Thank you, Joshua. And thank you very much, Siria, for the guidance. And I'm so grateful to you for all the support and guidance you gave to our audience. So thank you so much.
Yes.
And also, I would love, I'm not sure if it's you or Cheryl who will be talking about the one-on-one session and healing that you are offering.
All right.
So,
well, since the channel put it together, we'll have her talk about it. All right.
Okay. All right.
How's that?
Thank you very much.
But what we want to say to all of you beautiful beings in closing, that it has been our joy, it has been our love to come to speak to you. You see, it is our constitution to love you, to guide you on this wonderful journey of your life. And indeed, it is a wonderful journey. Whatever rocks come in the way, whatever woes come in the way, they can always be walked around, jumped around, or looked at and dissected. And that is your power. That is your power. That is your love. And so we invite you to walk in your grace, to walk in your light, and to know there will be another, ever be another one of you. There's only you that can make the difference in your life. And so nothing changes until you do. And with that, we say, we love you, we love you, we love you. And when you've had enough, we have even more. We are Siria Family, and we are signing out today.
welcome back. Yeah, it was really, really powerful. Thank you so much for channeling those messages.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
And
Wow, a whole year went by.
So also now I would love if you can tell our audience about the one-on-one session that you are offering, which where we'll be channeling Siria Family and also 30 minutes energy healing. And for that, I invite everyone to visit the page yourdivineuniqueness.com/Cheryl, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Cheryl, SHERYL. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. And the link also is on YouTube video description. So Sheryl, I would love if you can tell us about those two sessions.
Well, what you experience today, you'll be experiencing one-on-one. What's wonderful about the one-on-ones is Siria can go much deeper. It's really about you. It's all about you and all about what you want to talk about. And so I don't know what else I can say about that other than you've already experienced Siria Family. You know, there will be a lot of toning in the beginning. She'll come and speak to you directly, and you can really go very deep. I mean, this was an audience where there was others, but if there's a past life involved, she will bring that up, help you dig into it, help you process into it, give you the tools to go into it, and to know that if we're ever having obstacles in this life, we're meant to really heal those obstacles and to reframe them in ways that are livable. And so that's, I've seen it a lot, you know, you can get a lot of healing. So I don't remember if that was package A or not, but that's a solo session with Siria Family. Then I created another package where there's a session with Siria Family. And other beings come through too. They're just the main ones. And then we do energy work afterwards. And the energy work revolves around what was discussed. So, and how those energies are living in the body, where they're living in the body, and how they can be removed. And I find that the remote healing is actually more powerful. And the reason being is for years I did it in person. You know, people would have to come over to my home, walk up the stairs. And then, you know, people leave, get back in their car, drive, and go have their day. But doing it remotely is you're already home and relaxed. So there's no driving you get to, you don't have to go into a mental space, but staying in that energetic space and even going like at the end of your day, going to sleep right away, the healing continues in the dream world. So both of those can really start to shift some of the energies. Was there another package? Or was it just
no,
okay.
Just those two. So,
that's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Yeah.
I didn't offer classes as a package because that's with other people. So how I've concluded my class for this year. So I'm really ripe for starting a new one. So when we get enough people, I like them to be relatively small so we can really work with you intimately. Just let me know if you're interested, and then I start bringing the names together and put that together.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Yeah, for being available to offering the sessions, both the one-on-one, the 60 minutes, and also the energy healing. So grateful to you. And I agree with you. Like we experienced that with Siria now, but with the one-on-one, it can go even deeper because we have much longer time. And also because sometimes there are some personal things that we don't feel comfortable to share in front of the audience. So it will be more safe to have a one-on-one with you like that. So thank you for offering.
Absolutely. Sure. And when the group comes together, you're all connected in the group already. So even if somebody asks one question, you know, you can get healing from it as well. Yeah,
beautiful. And again, everyone, you can find the two packages on the page yourdivineuniqueness.com/Cheryl, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Cheryl, SHERYL. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. And the link will be also on, or is already on the YouTube video description. And yeah, Cheryl, so grateful to you. Thank you so much for
Thank you for
everything.
having me. I love it. I
I
love being
Yes,
with you
it-
all. Love channeling.
Yeah.
So,
Katie, thank you, Monsef and Cheryl. Melissa, delightful call, blessed messages. Yeah, so thank you again, Cheryl. Thank you, everyone, for your presence,
you,
co-creation with
everyone.
us this
we
really
we
amazing
couldn't do it without
experience.
you.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Joy, Cheryl, to bless you. And thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Monsef, for having me. It's a true joy. It's a true pleasure.
Yeah, the same for me. Thank you very much.
All right. See you soon,
And
hopefully.
see you soon. Yeah, absolutely. And
Bye, everyone.
yeah, so everyone, sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next call. Bye bye, everyone.
Love you, everyone.